Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to continue my little mini-series of ranking Fortnite guns. Today we're going to be covering the sniper rifles and bows, the long-range weapons. Before the video starts, be sure to like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it, even though it's completely optional. I'd like it if you do though. And let's get on into the video. Alrighty, we are back at the tier list. You guys know how this works. We got the S tier category, which means the broken, the godly snipers and bows. We have the A tier, which means the overall very good ones. We have the B tier, which means the overall solid, decent ones, balanced ones. We have the C tier, which means the average, the under par, the somewhat bad ones. And D tier, the garbage ones, the trash cans of the sniper and bow family. And I'm going to be doing this just like I have in my previous two videos. I'll be covering this from both a casual and competitive standpoint. But this is a little bit different when looking at it from these viewpoints because snipers as a whole is very debatable on whether they or not they should be in competitive. So some I think should, some I think don't. And I'm going to get into more of that in today's video. But anyway, let's begin. Up first, we have the Ambient sniper rifle, the Mandalorian sniper. So this sniper was added in Chapter 2, Season 5, the Sand Season, or whatever it was called. And not gonna lie, it took a good fight with Mandalorian to get this sniper. But when you got it, there was a new mechanic where you could melee like with it, you know? And I think that was a pretty good addition to the game. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in A tier. I think it was a very solid sniper, and I think it was very fun to use for casual. I didn't see it being used a lot in competitive. I don't actually think it was in competitive, but very good to play for fun. Up next, we have the auto sniper. This should come as a surprise to no one. I'm gonna put this thing in D tier. The thing is flat out garbage. I mean, for me, since I'm a controller player, I can I can track my shots and make them all hit with this thing. So for me, me personally, I would put it C tier, but knowing how bad it is, I'm just gonna put it in D tier because to me it doesn't even feel like a sniper. It feels like I'm shooting an AR rather than a sniper. It's not it's just bad. Up next, we've got the bolt snipers. Alright. I really want these back in the game. They're so fun to use. This is where most of the competitive drama between these snipers, whether or not they should be in competitive Fortnite or not, this is where most of the drama comes from. To me, they're both A tier. Both the lower tier one and the higher tier one are both A tier. Um, I know this one's a higher rarity, but they both basically have the same functionality. It's just a one-shot headshot for a sniper. Very, very basic sniper rifle. It's a classic, and I really want them to bring it back in casually. I don't really care if it's in competitive or not. But yeah, A tier definitely for the good old reliable bolt action sniper. Up next, we have the Boom Bow, the original Boom Bow. This thing's broken. Absolutely, it's S tier. This thing's broken. This thing did 115 damage, and you didn't even have to hit the player. You just had to hit the ground next to the player, and it do 115 damage. This thing was beyond broken, and it took over the Season 8 meta. Or the Chapter 1 Season 8 meta. It's beyond broken. Bring it back for limited time game modes, but please don't ever put this in the game. Up next, we have the exotic boom sniper. Everyone was so hyped when this was added in the game because everyone thought that this was going to be like an overpowered, exotic, heavy sniper. It's not. It does 10 damage when you hit someone, and then the explosive clinger, the explosive damage is 60. And then the fact that you have to spend like a metric crap ton of gold for the astronomically low amount of damage this thing did, this thing's D tier. Like, there's no point in having this in the game. Good for the memes, but there's just no point in having it in the game. Up next, we have the crossbow and Cupid's crossbows right here. They're both D tier. The crossbows are so clunky to use. They're so uncomfortable to use. They feel so weird when you use them. the damage really isn't that bad, but it's so hard to hit your shots with them. There's no point in them ever returning to the game. D tier. Up next, we have the Dragon's Breath snipers. This is basically an exotic bolt sniper, except it did fire damage as well. Listen, I know it's an exotic, and you have to spend a lot of gold to get this gun, but to me, that gold, you're getting your money's worth. You're getting your money's worth. That's worth it. For this thing has these exact same stats as a gold bolt action sniper. Plus, it does fire damage to structures. I'm gonna put it S tier. I had a lot of fun using this thing, especially in Chapter 2, Season 8 was when it really got popular because snipers weren't in the game during the final season of Chapter 2. So this is the way I'd be able to enjoy some sniping fun during that season. You get your money's worth with the sniper when you buy it. I'm gonna put it S tier. Up next, we have the double pistol crossbow things. I think they're called the dual fiend hunters. I actually looked at their stats. They do like around 30 damage, and they have a 2 times headshot multiplier, and it's hit scan. I'm just gonna put them in C tier. I would occasionally grab one for off spawn fights, but then I just drop it. It's not like a terrible gun. It's just like it's not viable. It's an off spawn gun. Up next, we have the zombie crossbow. This was the crossbow that you used to kill zombies. I think they actually buffed this thing during the Halloween, during the Marvel season. They actually buffed it to where it did 50 body shot to players. I'll just put it C tier. It's just a better version of these two. It was mainly for killing zombies. Up next, we have the exotic Grappler Bow. I did not use this bow a ton. I don't really have a lot of knowledge about this bow. But from what I've heard, it's a balanced boom bow that allows you to grapple. So what I'm thinking is you would shoot a player. I think it did like 90 damage, and then you'd grapple up and get like high ground or something. I'll put it A tier. It sounds like a fun gun that would to be used. I only have ever used it a few times, and I did have fun with it. But since I'm kind of bad at the game, it's just it was a little bit hard for control. It's hard for controller players to use bows. I'm sorry, but I'll just put it A tier. It sounds like a fun thing. Up next, we have the heavy sniper. Oh God. Oh my gosh, I don't think there's ever been a more broken sniper in the game. This thing is literally divided between casual and competitive. Do I think it should be in the normal casual modes? Absolutely. I mean, the thing is fun to use, and everyone looks some good old heavy sniper action. Competitively, no, no, no. Do not put this in competitive. It's too broken. Does way too much damage. One-shot structures. It's fun. Put it in like solo duos, trios, and squad pubs. Uh, just don't put it in arena. Don't put it in competitive. But it's very fun. I kind of want it back though. Up next, we have the Hunter Bolt Action Sniper. This is the new Chapter 3 sniper. And for me, my standpoint with the sniper is we have our first B tier sniper. It's an overall balanced, solid sniper rifle. It's nothing too over the top. It's not broken by any means. It's just a good old sniper. It's a balanced sniper. To me, it's like the Storm Scout without that broken that storm circle viewing mechanic. It's literally just the Storm Scout without that. Very balanced sniper, and I think this sniper is probably the best sniper for competitive Fortnite. It's just an overall, just solid, decent, not broken, balanced sniper. Very good for competitive, and for casually, it's not that bad either. Up next, we have the hunting rifles, and the lever action rifles here too. Perfect. Alright, the epic and legendary hunting rifle, I'm not gonna lie with you guys. I think this thing's S tier. You this thing was unbelievably broken in Chapter 2 Season 3. I mean, it was so easy to no scope with this thing if you were really good at trick shotting. And sorry, I'm clearing my throat a lot. And there was this one strat that Cypher PK came up with where you would use it close range too, and it was very accurate. I think this is one of the best snipers in the game, other than the heavy sniper, and I would not mind them bringing back this sniper for fun and casual modes. Competitive, no. And then, of course, you have its little brother, the OG normal hunting rifle. This thing's simply A tier, man. It was like the bolt. It did less damage, but you could no scope with it. These two things were a trick shotting player, the phase muse, the the trick shot player's dreams with these two snipers. Very good snipers. And then, of course, over here you have the lever action rifle. This is where this thing was not that good. I'll put it C tier because it's definitely better than these, but it's just no. It just what it was just it did like 60 damage, and then it did like 150 headshot or some crap like that. It wasn't like terrible, but it just wasn't viable enough. The off spawn, like, that's it. All right, now we're getting into a lot of the bows. So first up, we have the Makeshift Bow. Just gonna throw it in C tier. It does have a two times headshot multiplier, but it's a makeshift bow. This name is self-explanatory. It's just a makeshift pick up off the ground bow. Then you go over to the mechanical bow. This thing, okay, believe it or not, this thing, this is a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and put the Primal Bow up here too. The mechanical and Primal Bow are basically about the same. I think the mechanical one does 20 more damage, and the Primal one, I think, has farther range. But the major difference between these two, the Primal Bow can't one-shot headshots a player, the mechanical bow can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Primal Bow in B tier, and I'm going to put the mechanical bow in A tier. That's what I'm going to do. I think they're both very decent bows. I mean, of course, all of these bows were during the crappy, garbage Primal season, but I mean, there weren't any snipers that season, and these were actually one of the better parts of the Primal season, in my opinion. And then here are the 4 bows that you would craft. First up, we have the Explosive Bow. In my opinion, out of these 4 bows, this was the worst one. I think this was the worst one. I'll put it A tier because of the explosive mechanic, and same with the mythic one that you'd get from killing Raz. The mythic version of it just did a little bit more damage. These are both A tier. The Shockwave Bow, S tier. It's better mobility. You can get around the map easier, and keep in mind all of these bows that you could craft were one-shot headshot. I think I'm not even kidding. Shockwave Bow was probably one of the best bows in the game. The Primal Flame Bow, also S tier. There was a few competitive clips going around that carrying Primal Flame Bows were meta at one point. With especially in stacked late game lobbies, you would shoot a fire arrow and it just burned out on all the structures, and you'd get a ton of eliminations. I think it's S tier, and the Stink Bow is A tier. The Stink Bow, it wasn't broken by any means, but it was still a very good bow. So that's my stance on most of the bows covered in the Primal season. Up next, we have the Railgun. Sorry. It's broken. This thing, wall penetration, the amount of damage it did. It wasn't one-shot headshot, but the fact that you could do wall penetration with it, oh my god. This thing was very fun to use. My cousin is in love with this thing, but competitive, never, just never. It's like the heavy sniper. Never, never, never put this thing in competitive. Up next, we have a somewhat OG classic. We have the semi-auto sniper. I'm just going to throw this thing in B tier. I think it's an overall balanced sniper. I don't think it one-shot headshots, and I think it does decent damage. I think it does around 80 damage. It's a lot like this, but it fires faster. I'm just going to put it B tier. I think it's I think it's a decent sniper. I would not actually mind this being in the game. But the fact that it shoots a little bit faster, it's kind of like for competitive. There's no point. But yeah, overall, it's a decent sniper. Up next, we have the suppressed sniper, the silent sniper. You see, I would put this in A tier. I really would. I would put this in A tier, but I can't. I can't. If you guys remember, they brought this weapon back as part of the ghost weapons. You know, the shadow versus ghost thing during the agency season and chapter 2 season 2. This was the ghost sniper and the shadow sniper was the heavy sniper. The suppressed sniper, they nerfed the thing. The purple one, I'm going to give you guys an idea here. The green bolt sniper did more damage than a purple suppressed sniper. That's how much they nerfed it. Also, the silent mechanic is cool. It's like you shoot a shot and the player doesn't know where the shot came from when they get sniped. I think that's overall pretty cool, but it's B tier because the damage is just not there as compared to some of the other snipers. Up next, we've got the Storm Scout Sniper. This thing was added in Season X. Overall, I'm just going to put it in B tier. It didn't gain a lot of popularity. I know it had that storm circle thing where if you scope in, you could see the future storm circles. I think that's a decent mechanic. And then the exotic one, it was literally the same thing. They're both literally the same thing. And I think it was very fun for casual players. In competitive, maybe I think it'd help with players rotating better. But then again, if it's helping players rotate, it's just the player can just camp there. It allows for more camping, kind of. Overall, a solid sniper. And just like the new Hunter Bolt, it's very balanced. Just not the part about the storm circle scope thing. Up next, we've got the Mythic Boom Bow. Now, you guys might be thinking, this is an easy S tier. It's a mythic version of the Boom Bow, of the original Boom Bow from Chapter 1. Hey, guys, that's the thing. They fixed the Boom Bow. This is the fixed version of the Boom Bow. This thing did 75 damage. It was a balanced version. And I'm not complaining. I'm glad this bow got a balance. And it's a mythic drop by TNTina at the rig. Just going to put it in B tier. The reason I'm not putting it in A tier is because out of the 5 or 6 mythic weapons that season, this was like one that players least use. People would rather run a mythic scar or a mythic drum gun, or I think even the mythic the minigun. Like this thing was just, it wasn't that popular among all the other mythics. I'm just gonna put it B tier. It's overall solid though. Up next we have the exotic unstable bow. I believe this was the bow. I think it costs like 500 or 600 gold or whatever because it's an exotic. And I know it doesn't have like the blue color around it. It's because of all these little particles right here. I couldn't paint it in. But I believe how the unstable bow worked was if you shoot it, if you say like you shoot like a normal arrow, it would switch to a different arrow. Like you shoot a flame arrow, boom, it switched to a stink arrow. Then you shoot a stink arrow, boom, it switched to like a shockwave arrow. I think it was pretty fun, mechanic added to the game. So I'm gonna put that in A tier actually. It wasn't broken by any means because it switched around a lot, but overall in pubs, that thing was a lot of fun to use. And last but not least, we have the Forgotten One Zapatron. This is basically a save the world weapon. It was added in the OG days of Battle Royale in Season 1 or something, or Season 0 or whatever the hell it was called. The OG season. I believe there's only one ever clip of it. I can't say anything really about it. I'm just going to put it in D tier. I would like to rank it somewhere, but I'm just going to put it in D tier because I don't really know. And there you guys have it. That's my official tier list rankings on all of the snipers and bows, long range weapons in Fortnite. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. My next video is probably going to be continuing the series, except I'm going to be covering either the pistols, the explosive utility weapons, or I'm going to be covering the spray meta weapons like the SMGs or LMGs or miniguns and all that. I'll figure it out, and I will let you guys know when I plan to upload that. Anyway, guys, that's going to be the end of today's video. Hope y'all enjoyed, And I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful day, and peace out, guys.